We haven't seen this name in a while. Old
Mm.
Michael Saylor, old Sailor Boy, purchased an additional 7,000 Bitcoins. Why do you think they got 7,002 instead of an even number?
That is interesting. They were probably trying to spend 415 million probably, and it just rounded out to something like that. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
or I wonder if they set in motion to buy 7,000 and then the price fell.
And they got a couple extra.
Hey, I got a couple extra.
Yeah,
Hey,
that makes
like,
sense.
yeah, if you're the accountant, you're like, well, do I buy the 7,000 or do I just like spend the extra two? Like, oh, they're gonna yell at me if I don't buy the extra
Well,
Bitcoin.
here's the bigger question. Where do you land on the Bitcoins debate? I mean, they bought 7,000. I would say MicroStrategy's purchased an additional 7,002 Bitcoin for 414.4 million. But he tends to write it with an S.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Michael Saylor, so like you can't debate him on it because there'll be 2 hours,
Yeah.
and he'll talk about Apache Indian shells or something, like
What
he'll
is
like
it?
go like real esoteric with
What's
it.
really a plural?
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
where do
yeah,
you
he'll like
land
go
on
the
it?
Latin root and stuff.
How do
So
you say it?
I'm Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
7,002 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know.
1 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin. It's just Bitcoin, just like deer. 1 deer, 10 deer, 5
Yeah,
deer.
or 50 Cent, the rapper, he ruined 50 Cent for me. I can't say 50 cents. No, if something costs 17 cents, you just say it's 17 cents. But when it's 50 cents, it's like because you said the rapper's name so many times,
Yeah.
you just say 50 Cent.
Yeah.
But it's 50 cents. Yeah. So yeah, they bought 7,002 Bitcoin at average price of 59,000. As of November 29th, they have 121,000 Bitcoins for 3.5 billion, average price of 29,000. He's becoming one of the bigger whales. And it's crazy, there's bigger whales in this. He's
Oh,
like
yeah.
barely, compared to some of the other ones. So it's awesome to see Michael Saylor. You keep doing you. Just last quick Bitcoin story here. We got the Bitcoin versus the bear market, so it's looking good. Yeah, that was a good buying opportunity if you jumped in there.
Mhm.
So added almost 1,500 as some sense of equilibrium returned to the crypto markets. Both crypto and traditional assets. Yeah, they were. It was the news designated news. Yeah, they keep changing the name. The Omicron and this is supposed to be the G and yeah. So it's interesting to see what that's done to the markets. But yeah, essentially yeah, the markets seem to be bouncing back. Now, do you say the dip was just based on what brought down the traditional markets, or do you think there was something else? There was a little bit of data that some whales had sold a few positions here and there. Why do you think we dipped so hard?
I think it's a combination. It's rarely one thing that causes the dip across the board. I think
Yeah,
the news of the new variant creates an opportunity for some whales to move some stuff around. You're going to have, traditional markets pulling back. We often see the crypto markets mirror that in some regard. It kind of reminded me of March when we had that kind of flash crash where it looked really dire. All this different news was coming out. There was a lot of turmoil in the markets, and we flash crashed all the way down to like 3,800, but then immediately recovered to a zone that everybody had started to feel comfortable in, which is what I felt like happened a little bit in the micro over the weekend, dropping all the way down to 53 and change, but then snapping back pretty quick. Like after the reality set in, like, hey, wait a minute, this really doesn't change anything. There's really nothing to be afraid of. If anything, if there's something to be afraid of, we should be buying more Bitcoin. So, it kind of reminded me of that
yeah.
sentiment.
And me and Justin have talked about this. It's not so much like people saw a variant and then they sold their Bitcoin.
No,
They
exactly.
panic sold. Like I don't think that happens to anybody. I'm sure
Mm-mm.
there's one person or something, but I think what happens is they see the news, they see the stock market, so they just open a short,
Yeah,
or if they're in a long, they close it,
right.
and then that's the selling pressure. Not no one wakes up in the morning, sees a headline, and says, well, I guess I was wrong," and
It's
they just
over.
sell all their Bitcoin. Yeah,
Yeah.
that does not happen.
No.
You know,
Well, and people, like you were saying, they forget how much of the market is leverage. And so
yeah,
just closing longs or setting shorts can make a big difference.
yeah. I've seen it. I've seen it in like a crypto face stream where
Yep.
he'll like just literally like just a giant order, and then his whale crew all simultaneous buy on some longs. Next thing you know, it's just like whoop, like just out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, maybe that's a coincidence, but more likely, yeah, just that little bit of you know, 4x, 6x, you get enough whales to do that, 10x, you know, you get some J chains to do it 25x.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, like that's enough to move the needle. And it does certainly. I mean, we've seen it with the Elon tweets.
Mhm.